Paxton Creek Mini-Basin, trunk line sewer replacement, and minor stormwater improvement project, acquisition of sewer easements, and storm sewer easements for construction. This is our public meeting via YouTube. We hope that this will answer questions that you may have for the letter that you received in the mail with your sewer or stormwater easement. My name is Bill Weaver. I am the Sewer Department Director and Authority Liaison, and this will be a brief 30-minute YouTube presentation. First, the project team. Of course, it includes yourselves as the property owners, the Board of Supervisors and the Authority. Brad Gottschall is the Township Manager. Township staff includes myself. Jim Wetzel is the Operations Supervisor. John Deibler is our I&I Coordinator. Clint Krieger is our Crew Leader. Eric Morgan is our Inspection Leader. And Michelle will be taking your agreements. She is our Sewer Admin staff. And Alex is our GIS tech that helps with these presentations. Project team also includes our engineer, who is designing the project. Melissa Smith is the project director, and Mitch Collins is the project engineer who designed this project. A little bit why we're here. We have overflowing manholes, sewer basement backups that have been eliminated. All this was started back in 1993, which required us to have a violation of our clean stream law in Chapter 94. We also exceeded interceptor capacities with our local intermunicipal agreements, including Harrisburg, Susquehanna, and Swadera. And all this led to a consent decree with DEP. Again, a little bit why we're here. You can see some from these photos what happens with a 50-plus-year-old sewer system. You have failures in the pipe when it's not backfilled properly. And to the left, you can see where the joints are not well established when it was constructed. There's bad transitions and missing pieces. Here's another example of this poor backfilling procedures back in the 70s, and you have missing pieces of pipe. And again, all this led to the Second Amendment to the Second Consent Decree. Our engineer recommended that the 50-year-old sewers have reached their useful life, and they are all made of asbestos, cement, and clay, and we need to replace all those sewer systems. The projects selected and prioritized are by drainage basin and by sewer flow metering. And the goal is to eliminate all of the overflows in the basement backups by 2022. We are down to one overflow, and we've eliminated with these projects over 100 basement backups and overflows in the last 30 years. And by 2027, we're to reduce the flow in the whole system so it will properly function without the threat of a sewer backup or an overflow. Okay, this is just a map of the project area. Obviously, you all live there. You're familiar with this area. The pink line is starting on Linglestown Road and travels north, and there's offshoots up into the streets. This project is anticipated that it will eliminate an overflow that was reported by the residents in that area, in your area. And we'll go through piece by piece here on the sewer system up there. So basically the project will consist of replacing this old pipe, 3,800 feet of asbestos cement sewer. There's 20 laterals that are going to be replaced. We're not going all the way to the house, but we'll replace that portion of the private sewer in the sewer easement. And then there's also portions of the stormwater conveyance system that we'll replace as well now that the authority owns stormwater. And there's just other miscellaneous work that needs to be done as part of this project. You'll see the first part is the right-of-way clearing and so forth. Estimate is $2 million. And that'll be updated next month when we complete the design. The design's about 90% right now. So a little bit about the design. Again, this starts on Linglestown Road. The engineer is required to stay away from the stream and move the sewer away from the stream where it can be accomplished. Also to minimize stream crossings. So this is the first segment. Typically, this is where the contractor will begin. They typically begin at the lower end of the system so they can set up their profiles and keep the gravity sewer maintained. This is the second segment, just traveling north. You can see Vesta Drive up there to the northwest. Overall, there are 22 total properties in this replacement project, and this is the second segment. There's 4 more just to show. You can see how this travels up along Jacobs Avenue and Vesta Drive and Blue Mountain Expressway. And this is the last segment where we end. We also have some storm sewer replacement on this segment. So that's just the design. We'll go into what to expect with the construction and a little bit more about the design as I go through this YouTube presentation here. And these are just the offshoots that go up into the road system. You can see on each property there's a lateral connection. That's the black pipe coming off the main line to the house. So a little bit more about the design. Again, as I mentioned, the DEP criteria for sewer and storm replacements requires engineers to minimize impacts to streams and wetlands. The authority will be required to acquire new easements from owners that you already have an existing easement, but in order to relocate the sewer now to minimize these impacts, there's just a small portion of new easement that's needed along with the existing. And all the off-street sewers are owned by the authority for sewer, but for storm sewer, those are still considered private. So upon request, staff and the engineer will meet with each owner to discuss the easements and address any concerns or impacts that the easement may have on your property. We encourage you to do that. We'll talk about that more as we go. And then following construction, all your easement areas will be restored to their original condition. We're going to talk a lot about the obstructions. There's quite a few obstructions in this project. A lot of the backyards are small, and there's sheds and fences in the way and very limited work zones in some areas, along with the creek. In most cases, the sheds can be relocated and the fence is temporarily removed and replaced, so we're going to go over that next. So these are just the type of easements. Generally speaking, again, there's 22. They're all sewer or stormwater, and these are just different variations. You have some that are permanent sewer, temporary sewer, some with sewer and storm sewer. So it'll be detailed in your letter of which type that you have received, and we're going to show some examples of that. So this is just a standard easement agreement document that all solicitors use for municipalities and authorities. This is just the first page, but basically all it does is show that you're granting the authority a sewer easement. For the permanent ones, it has to be recorded in the courthouse. For temporary, the temporary extinguishes after the project is over. This is an example of a permanent easement. You can see that the sewer being relocated, and then there's that small area along the creek that we need existing plus new sewer easement. And then the temporary, that just allows the sufficient area for the contractor to store materials and do the construction. And this is just an example of a temporary construction easement. And that is, again, not recorded at the courthouse, and those can be emailed to us. We'll show examples of that as well. So this is just an example that shows on your property where your sewer line is on your property and the impacts. So a little bit about the schedule. First, we want to finish the design. That'll be done at the end of April. We want to acquire all the easements by the end of May, award the project in June, and then we'll have a pre-construction meeting in June. Construction cannot start until August We actually have a restriction along the tree line. There's long-eared bats, so DEP does not allow the construction to occur over the summer months because of the bat issue. So between May and August, we are not allowed to do construction until after August 15th. And then to include all the yard restoration and so forth, the project pipe will be done in the winter, but the project won't be final complete until May of next year. So that we just go step by step through the process here. We mail the sewer easements and stormwater easements. We have this YouTube public meeting. We have the meetings with each of you who request them. Some of you may not, because it's pretty simple and straightforward with no impacts. But again, we do encourage to have the meeting. We receive all the easements. Contractor starts the work. We replace all the sewers, replace the storm sewer, and then we restore all the areas. And we'll go into detail now of each of these steps. So a little bit about your sewer line that's going to be replaced. There's just some nomenclature here. So building sewer is the area that normally goes to the sidewalk, and the service lateral is the portion that goes to the main. The lateral is 6 inches and the building sewer is 4. But in Lower Paxton, the entire private sewer is owned by the homeowner, and the authority only owns the main line in the street. This is typical in Pennsylvania. Some townships do own the lateral, but very few. This sewer line that we're replacing is a little unusual because it's not in the road. It's going behind your house. So this diagram does not show it behind the house, but we do own, again, the main line sewers off the road as well. So for the private sewer that goes to your house, we're going to be replacing the lateral portion in the easement area. And this is just the spec that's provided to the contractor. That shows that you have to put in this special double sweeping tee, and this provides 2 functions that I'm going to go over next. So there's a blow up of this double sweep tee. Basically what it does is allows the transition from a 6-inch lateral to a 4-inch building sewer, so you can have 2 pipe sizes in this tee. Then it also allows for future cleaning and televising, so it allows a piece of camera equipment to go around that bend, and also cleaning equipment. So this will be the end of what we replace. You'll have this 6-inch lateral with this 6-inch tee, and we'll have this casting pipe. That'll be the end of the project on your property. This tee casting is better than the plastic. We used to use plastic, and they'd get cut when homeowners were mowing their grass. So this heavy duty casting is typically in driveways, but we started using it in yards so you can find it easier and not damage it. So while we're replacing your private lateral, you can still use your toilets and your sinks while it's being replaced. However, we ask that you don't use wash machines or dishwashers or showers, because that's high flow and the contractor's going to be in the ditch working. So we do recommend that you don't do that. You will receive a door knocker of telling you when we're starting your property, the estimated date, and you will actually see as they just move in to your neighborhood, you can tell house by house, when your house is going to be done as well. Okay, a little bit about the stormwater. So you can see on the left that the pipes are basically rotted out. All the storm pipes were corrugated metal back in the day, and with acid rain, basically the pH of the rainwater is so low it does rot out the corrugated pipe. So in this area, there's very few stormwater drainage facilities along the sewer easement, but we'll be updating those, you can see, with modern PVC pipe and PennDOT approved concrete structures. So this is probably the most important part for the residents. What can you expect during the project construction-wise? First thing you'll see is on those off streets, the contractor will be laying down his pipe and his manholes and his big trench box there with the safety horses. You can see we just advise residents to be aware that we'll be storing some materials that are needed for the job. So this is a project that we just did a few years ago. We have a lot of photos to show. This is what to expect. This is a project just like yours where the sewer ran behind the houses in Spring Creek down by the hospital. This is active construction. You can see to the far left they're putting in the manhole. They have their trench box. Now they lay the pipe, and then on the far right you can see where your private lateral ties into the main, and that's the progression there. So a little bit about obstructions. We didn't see this when we walked it. We walked the whole project. We didn't see many people, the bushes or flowers or gardens. But if you do have some, you have to take those out because the contractor will remove them and won't put them back. The crew leader will attempt to notify homeowners if they see this prior to the work. Any trees that are in the way, those will be removed at our expense. That'll be the first thing you'll see. The contractor will be setting them up as E&S plan, and which is erosion and sedimentation control, so there's no soils that get into the creek, and then they'll take the trees down that are in the sewer easement that they can't work around. As I mentioned before, there are a few properties that have fences, so we'll have to coordinate with those folks that may have pets. We will put up temporary fencing at the end of the day if there are pets involved or pools. But they'll basically take down the fence and put it back up when they're done, as they're coming across the property with the sewer line. There are 5 properties that have sheds, and those owners have received a special letter, and we strongly encourage those folks they need to meet with us because they need to remove everything from the shed. The contractor's going to rip out the shed, and then we'll put a new shed outside the easement area for those property owners. Okay, after the job's done, you can see we have some details on what to expect with the seeding. This is a flyer that we provide that just says congratulations on your new sewer, and then it talks about what to expect for watering and to give it time before you start mowing. So this is just a general flyer. Then we provide the seed mixture, and then we use the top seed mixtures with fertilizer and so forth. So this is something that we started a few years back. We noticed that a lot of people along sewer right-of-ways do actually extend their yard back that far. So those have been identified by our engineer. We call those improved right-of-ways versus unimproved. There's different standards on what the contractor does for seeding. If it's being mowed, then there's stricter requirements for using screen topsoil, the better fertilizer and lawn mixtures compared to like the unapproved right away, where that's just along the creek and there's woods and it's not mowed. And this is just an example of what it looks like when we're finished. This is the whole right of way has been seeded, and you can see they have their straw blanket down. So moving forward then, we just have a few slides remaining here just to explain what we expect from the property owners. We asked again that you schedule a meeting so we can go over those concerns that you may have. You can just call me at my office. I have my phone number and extension, or you can just send me an email. We also ask that you tell us if you have any underground facilities and utilities that we don't know about. And those would be like gas and water and electric for swimming pools. Dog fences are popular now, the invisible dog fences. Water lines for sprinkler systems. And electric for landscape lighting is real prevalent. We don't expect to see a lot of that in the back because it is in the back. We normally see that some of those things in the front, other than the pools, of course. So then we just ask that you sign and return the easements. As noted in your letter, again, if it's temporary, the nice thing is you can just sign that, and if you have access to a computer, you can just email it to Stephanie Hatcher at that email address. If you don't have access to a computer, we do mail along with the letter. You'll see you have a return envelope that's already has postage on it with our address. If it is permanent, for those folks, there's about 11 of those. Unfortunately, they do have to be notarized, so you'll have to contact Shelly. Her number's on the letter, and then here's her email. You do have to bring your license with you, by the way, if you use Shelly or any notary. And then after 30 days, we'll move ahead, unfortunately, because it is mandatory program. Anyone that doesn't sign, we do have to do by eminent domain because it is a public hazard with the sewer overflow. And then again, at the end, we expect the owners to water their newly seeded lawn areas. So benefits to the community: your 50-year-old sewer system is replaced, including partial private sewer, and then portions of the storm sewer system are replaced and improved. And then this asset of the community is maintained and preserved. And of course, the environment is protected through the elimination of these overflows and basement backups. We do have a notification system. The township utilizes Civic Ready, so if you have a desire to get emails or texts or phone calls as part of this process, we will get your cell phone number or email address and provide updates as the project progresses. You can also stay up to date by visiting our webpage, which is where this YouTube that you found, the same tab, Sanitary Sewer Stormwater tab. And we encourage you to ask questions about the project at any time. This email was checked every day by staff. It's mynewsewer@lowerpaxton-pa.gov. Again, thank you for viewing our YouTube presentation. And again, please email any questions, and please contact me for your on-site meeting. Thank you.